When people hear the word peace, they often imagine a clear ending, a date on a calendar, a moment when noise stops and life returns to normal. But in long conflicts, peace does not arrive like a door opening, it arrives like a slow change in air pressure, and many people do not notice it until later. Right now, many are asking if peace is coming soon, and the honest feeling in the room is mixed, because being closer does not always mean being close, and that tension matters. To understand this moment, we need to slow down and look at what closer really means in daily life terms. Imagine two neighbors who have been in a bitter fight for years. They finally sit at the same table that feels like progress, but they are still arguing over keys, locks, apologies, and who moves first. Sitting at the table is not the same as trusting the table. The first surface idea in moments like this is agreement. We hear that there is a plan, that points have been written, that people have nodded. In principle, this sounds solid and calming, like a checklist, but agreement on paper is the easiest part, because paper does not feel fear, paper does not remember loss, paper does not wake up at night. When people say there is a plan, they often mean there is a shared outline, not a shared future. In everyday life, this happens when two people say, let's fix this relationship, and they agree to try, but they have not yet agreed on how to feel safe again, or who takes the first risk, or what happens if trust breaks again. So the surface idea is progress through agreement, but the lived reality is progress through risk, and risk is harder than writing. The second layer hides under that surface, and it is about assumptions. Many plans assume that if each side gets enough of what it wants, then calm will follow. But conflict is not just about wants, it is about identity, fear, and memory. Think about a time you argued with someone close and later realized the fight was not really about the topic, it was about feeling unseen or unsafe. In long wars, each side carries stories of harm that shape how they hear every word. When one side says security, the other hears control. When one side says freedom, the other hears danger. These hidden translations matter more than the words themselves, so even when people agree in principle, they may be disagreeing in meaning. This is why details feel heavy and slow, because each detail touches a nerve, not just a policy. The third insight is about structure, not people. We often focus on leaders' plans and announcements, but the deeper pattern is how systems behave under pressure. In long conflicts, violence becomes a way to manage fear. It is terrible, but it is familiar. When a system has used force to survive, it does not easily switch to trust, because trust feels like stepping into the dark in daily life. We see this when someone keeps checking their phone after bad news, even when nothing new is coming. The habit remains because it once felt useful. In conflict zones, the habit of defense becomes built into decisions, schools, borders, and routines. So even if leaders want change, the system resists because it has learned to survive this way. This does not mean peace is impossible, but it means peace requires rewiring, not just negotiating. At this point, a new perspective can help. Instead of asking, are we close to peace, we can ask, are we close to learning how to live without constant threat? These are different questions. Peace sounds final and clean. Learning sounds slow and uneven. Learning allows mistakes and pauses. Learning accepts that fear does not vanish at once. This reframing lowers false hope but raises real possibility, because it focuses on process, not promises. Think about learning to walk after an injury. You measure progress by small movements, not by the finish line. In this view, even imperfect talks matter, because they train muscles that have not been used in years, like listening, waiting, and imagining a future that is not only survival. So how does this connect to daily life? Far from the conflict, it connects through how we handle long problems. Many people wait for a clear moment to change a job, repair a relationship, or heal a habit. They wait for certainty, but certainty rarely arrives. First movement does. We often move while unsure. We apologize before we feel safe. We try again before we feel ready. In this sense, watching peace efforts can teach patience, not the passive kind, but the active kind that stays present while outcomes remain unclear. It also teaches honesty about hope. You can be more hopeful than before and still not feel hopeful at all. Both can exist together. In fact, that tension may be the most truthful emotional state in hard transitions. Optional deepening comes when we sit with that tension without rushing to label it. People often demand optimism or despair because both are simple but real. Moments of change live in between. They feel unfinished, they sound cautious, they resist slogans in daily conversations. This looks like saying, I do not know yet, but I am willing to keep talking. That sentence does not trend well, but it builds space. In long conflicts, space is precious because space allows people to imagine life beyond the next reaction. If there is any quiet signal in the current moment, it is not that peace is guaranteed, but that the language of possibility has returned, even if it is fragile, and fragile things require care, not pressure. So the real question may not be whether peace is coming soon, but whether people can tolerate the slow, uncomfortable work of learning a different way to live together before certainty arrives. And can we do the same in our own unresolved conflicts before asking for an ending we cannot yet hold?